Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 50, DJI 1 week to go. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Got a full house here tonight. We're going to get started because I have a very early morning tomorrow morning. So we're going to get cracking here. Warren is here. USA Drone Flyer, welcome. Koopy's here. Welcome, Koopy. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Jody Drone Shots. Let's see who else. Frank Rizzo, welcome, Frank. Let's see who else we got here. Johnny Oki, welcome. Johnny, welcome. Let's see who else we got. Sergeant Rock, welcome. Good to see you. RJ Redding is here. DD Fellows, welcome. Let's see who else. Wow, Recovered Dre, welcome. Good to see you. Let's see who else. Wow, we've got a full house here tonight. Art is here. Welcome, Art. I thought I saw John. John's here. Welcome, John. Let's see who else. Carlos Moran, welcome. Okay. King Dog, welcome. Good to see you. Brian Gonzalez, welcome. Got a full house tonight. Richard is here. Welcome, Richard. Thank you guys for stopping by. John, I've been seeing. I really am enjoying your pictures from up in Kalamazoo. Because I'm going to be we're heading up north tomorrow. Yeah, we're leaving sunny Florida right now. We're going to the cold and snow and all that kind of good stuff. We're going to visit my children and our granddaughters in Ohio. I'm going to be up there for a few days, and we have a very early morning tomorrow. I got to get up at 3 a.m. Oh, joy. Oh, joy. So, but we're really looking forward to it. It's worth all the long hours and the aggravation. And we're tired. We're tired as heck. Well, last night, okay, the reason I wasn't in the chat on Drone Nation last night was yours truly was down at, it's now Benchmark International Arena here in Tampa, and watched the Florida Panthers, the two-time back-to-back Stanley Cup defending Florida Panthers, beat the pants off the Tampa Bay Lightning 5-2. We had excellent seats. I actually got on video 2 of the goals as they happened, believe it or not. Absolutely fantastic. Just had a total blast last night. A total blast. So much fun. Really had a good time. But we were pretty wiped out today. Valerie's off this week, so she didn't have to get up. I had to go in and go to work. And on top of that, I had to pack for tomorrow. So yeah, it's just lots of fun stuff. So anyway, okay. Yeah, getting ready for cold, Brian. Yep, we sure are. We got new winter coats. Both Valerie and I got new winter coats. And good prices, too. I was very pleased with what I paid, and Valerie was very pleased with what she paid. And it ended up, they're both maroon in color. Go figure. So we'll be the maroon twins. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, want to start off, it's just like there's just so much stuff going on right now. I thought I'd start out this evening, okay. We're going to have share a little bit of humor. Okay. I thought this would be good. Now, this was one of my friends from high school posted this, and I said, we got to do this. Okay. A brunette goes into a doctor's office and says that her body hurts wherever she touches it. Impossible, says the doctor. Show me. She takes her finger, presses on her elbow, and screams in agony. She pushes her knee and screams, pushes her ankle and screams, and so it goes on. Everywhere she touches makes her scream with pain. The doctor says, "You're not really a brunette, are you?" She says, "No, I dyed my hair. I'm naturally blonde." "I thought so," he says. "Your finger is broken." Boom. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, kind of had to do one of those. Just kind of had to do one of those. We are going to have a show next week, okay? Because next week, as you guys know, you see the title of tonight's show. We're going to get into that here in a minute. But we will have a full show next week. And agenda's up in the air. We'll find out what goes on that day, and Ron and I will get you the news, good, bad, and indifferent. So, but one of the things before we get into things, I'm trying to keep an upbeat and positive tone about it. A lot of people haven't. I am. And one of the things, and we'll talk about it later, come December 24th, you'll still be able to fly your DJI drone. Come December 26th, you'll still be able to fly your DJI drone. So enjoy, okay? Just enjoy. It's just going forward. I mean, the Avata 360 and the Pocket 4, we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but they've been approved by the FCC. So whenever they come out, we can probably still be able to get them through South Korea, China, Japan, whoever on eBay. So, all right, enough about all that. I just wanted to, I had to throw in that joke. I hope you guys liked it. I thought it was pretty good. One of the first things that I saw when I was getting ready for the show today is the Hover Air Aqua, and I don't know of a lot of people that purchased that, or because it was a crowdfunding. I don't know a lot of people that did it, but there's a delay, and it launched in August of 2025, and it raised over $2 million from 1,700 backers. Now, Hover Air has delivered a major update on when backers can expect their drones. It's a mix of disappointment and promise. Bad news first, Aqua was officially delayed. The good news, Hover Air says the extra time is being used to meaningfully improve performance, reliability, and usability. And early backers are getting a few perks in return, okay? 100% waterproof and buoyant design. Promises up to 23 minutes of flight time per battery with a top track speed of around 34 miles an hour. It comes with a wearable controller called Lighthouse that allows the drone to take off, land, and follow you without the need for a phone or traditional remote. Interesting, okay? That all remains to be seen how it's going, but, it's like the pitfall of these drones that, are done through backers is kind of on the interesting side. I don't know what else to say about that. It just, that's all I can say. What remains to be seen what's going to happen with all this. We don't know. We're just kind of go from there. I think it's a lesson learned. I think those of you who did the Johnny's drone, the Copter Mini, okay, it's a lesson in futility, and and see, I think a lot of this is, and I'm just going to kind of throw this out there, okay. Johnny got hit. Wow. Okay. Wow. That's interesting. Very good, Johnny. Keep us posted on that. Interested to find out. Of course, we know you were in there. We know you're number one on their list, Johnny. So there's absolutely no doubt about that. But yeah, dude, seriously, do keep us posted. Let us know how that goes. You take a chance when you're doing these crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, whatever you want to call them, project. I don't know what else to call it. I mean, other than that. So, I hope it goes well. I really do this time around with the V-Copter Mini. But this is another instance with this Hover Air Aqua, and the use case for that, I mean, it's even narrower than a lot of other drones. I mean, if you're surfboarding or do jet skiing or have water skis or some kind of water sports, it's probably okay. But I mean, the other very limited use cases beyond that, maybe the backyard pool. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I seriously, or you do fishing on the ocean and out and about, or maybe on a lake and you want to film it out there. Who knows? I don't know. So that's kind of where that's going here. So, let's see here. Trying to look for that. There's an article specifically that I wanted to go over here. Okay. All right. Now, right now, let me go ahead and get to share this here. This is a good article on Drone DJ. 5 action camera accessories you probably didn't know existed, okay? Insta360 Ace 2 Pro camera grip. Now, I actually did see this, okay? And you can see there's a picture of that right there. It makes it look almost like a regular camera to do that. Looks pretty interesting. and let's see, the grip features a shutter button for snapping photos or starting and stopping video, support for zooming with a rocker under the shutter, and a dial for making changes in exposure control. The features do come at a cost, and the grip is $100. All right. Insta360 H2 Pro X5 Preview Remote. Okay, that's interesting. All right, and here that is right here, and it does not. Let's see, I have price $160 for that. All right, Osmo Action 3.5 millimeter audio adapter. Now, the one that's listed on here, it's not on. These are actually. This is. I did some investigating on this because it kind of piqued my interest here a little bit. You know, this is good if you have a mic set up on a stand, like I did with my Osmo Action 1. You know, I ran a Rode mic to it, so it would pick up audio, you know, when you're within, you know, maybe 5 feet or so of the subject. This is for instances like that, where you're hard mounting, you're not moving the camera around. It's going to be stationary, and you can either, you know, one of two things. You can hook up a corded lavalier mic to it if you wanted to, if you would be the only one talking, or you could do like that Rode mic, like I did with my first one, and have that attachment on the case with a cold shell or cold boot, I don't know, whatever they call them, to mount it on top there. I mean, it's an interesting option to be able to do that. This is available, I think, on the Action 4 and the Action 5. It's not available on the Action 6. I actually went out and I found one out on, where was it? I found one on eBay, and I bought one today. It's very reasonable in price. It says $59. That's about what I paid for it. I got it from China. It's going to be coming over, so stay tuned. You know, I figure, because I still have that the mic from the Osmo Action 1, and that case, and it's a good setup, and I'm probably going to try to use that occasionally, like if I'm filming something other than just B-roll and I want to get pickup voices on that. So I figured, you know, that's a worthwhile investment. So I went ahead and I did that. Insta360 H2 Pro photo printer. Okay, that's really interesting here. Pair this with a grip from earlier, and you have a pretty fun looking camera you can take to events. You can be physically attached to the bottom of the Ace Pro 2's camera grip, but connects to the camera over Bluetooth. Honestly, never been more tempted to drop whatever money it takes to purchase Ace Pro 2 and the printer. It looks just fun. And purchase the pocket printer for $100. I mean, that's a pretty cool little thing, being able to print photos like that on the fly. I think that's real interesting. And this is real good that this you know, the person who wrote the article ended up finding all things. And then the last one is a GoPro wired power connector. GoPro solution is called the Connecto. It's a replacement door for the side of your camera that features a magnetic wireless charging port on the side. This can then be connected by the provided cord to charge your device, and it keeps it all waterproof. Here's Ron. Hey, Ron.
Hello, Bill. How are you tonight?
Good. Going over some options for the people don't know about on GoPro and Insta360 and DJI Action cameras. You know, one of them was, let's see here. The first one was I'm going to go up here. There's a camera grip, the Insta360. It's $100. There's a preview remote here for $160. On the Osmo Action, there's a 3.5 millimeter audio adapter for the Action 4 and Action 5. On the Insta360 Ace 2 Pro, there's a printer that you can get. And then on the last, there's a GoPro wired power connector here for about $100. All these are pretty reasonable prices too.
And Bill, it's interesting. You know, Insta360 decided not to upgrade their X2, their flagship action camera this year. And what they did instead is they just provided a bunch of useful accessories for the already good model, because I admire Insta360. People are already reviewing the Action 6 up against the X2, and it's still holding its own a year later with the current outings from other camera companies. So they made a wise decision not to upgrade this year.
I think so too, Ron. I think you're right. I think you're right. It really boded pretty well. Now, Sean put out a video, and I thought I had, I'm gonna see, I thought I had a page for it here. I must be missing it. Oh, okay.
While you're looking for, I can't wait to get to Steeler Nation tonight. It was a great day in Steeler Nation.
Well, yeah, we'll talk. We'll definitely talk about that here. Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to get to, and I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Wow, my software is really slow tonight. Okay. And where are we going? Okay. All right. Man, it's slow tonight.
And while it's slow, Alvin Hamilton says, "Hey, Bill, my wife loved the game last night. I told her you were there. Go Cats!"
Oh, we had a blast last night. Had fantastic seats last night. We sat where the Panthers shoot twice, and I actually recorded live with my camera 2 goals last night for the Panthers.
Oh wow,
Got
you were
on
allowed
video.
to film in there, huh?
Oh yeah, you're allowed to, but you can't do an action cam. You can only use your smartphone to do that.
Right,
You can't
right.
use anything else.
That's kind of funny because smartphones are great. Smartphones could take just as good as photos and videos as anything else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now this article right here, Insta360 2025 Holiday Buyer's Guide. This is a good suggestion list for Insta360 on what's going on here. The pure action camera, the Ace Pro 2, and it lists all the specs. Fun discrete cameras. Insta360's Go 3S and Go Ultra are the leaders on DJI Osmo Nano. And it kind of compares them here. List and price, capture everything with the 360 camera.
Mm-hmm.
And 360 cameras are perfect for those who need the widest camera possible, not missing any action and wanting to reframe the shot afterwards. Okay. And that's the big thing. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, Ron, and I know this was, I thought about it after the show and I got some comments on it as well too, is, you have to have a computer with some really good punch and really good processing power to process these videos, because it really
the 360 videos. That's true, Bill. But the only thing I could say on the other side of that, all you need is a late model phone, and even if your phone a year or two old, can still chew right through that 360 video. Like the Insta360 app is great for editing 360 video right in your phone.
Yep.
You're right about the computer, but again, if you have a late model phone, you're going to be fine.
Well, you have it from Mr. Ron Brown on that. That's absolutely fantastic. So,
hey, Bill, I don't want to disrupt the show. We'll say a little bit later, but folks out in the audience, don't go anywhere. Bill, we have an unboxing here coming up near the end of the show. So save 2 or 3 minutes for a unboxing of a drone that just arrived today.
How about that, folks?
A drone not the Nano, not the drones you've been seeing lately. This is a drone you haven't seen in a while, Bill. So just a teaser. Don't go anywhere, folks. Don't leave.
Do not touch that dial.
Don't change that channel.
Do not touch that dial. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Now our good friend Sean, he put out a video about the Osmo Action 6, and it really was as a how to easily crop square aspect video in DJI Mimo app, and he went through that, and it really is not that hard. Sean's videos are always straight on and to the point, and he gives you kind of a step-by-step thing, and that's one thing Sean's really good at, is he keeps it real simple and he keeps it in basic English so it's easy to understand, and that's what he did here in this instance. So if you have an Osmo Action 6 and you want to do this, I think this is the definitive go-to video right here. I mean, that's just
and Bill, this technology is nothing new. It's new to DJI here, but they call this open gate. The term open gate's been around for years. The ability to record video in such a format you could decide later on whether you want it to be vertical or horizontal. And actually, GoPro introduced, I believe, on the Hero 11. So several years back, and big cameras have had this for years, is what they call open gate. So again, I mean, it's a great add to the Action 6, but it's not like it's any breakthrough technology. It's been around for years in other devices.
Absolutely.
Insta360 calls it free frame, or I think they call it free frame. Like you could do that in the Ace Pro 2. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
and of course you could do that in the 360 cameras. They could do. You could pick any way you want and pose to output it vertical, horizontal, 1 by 1. But again, I'm not knocking it. It's a nice feature, and again, Sean does a great job in explaining stuff for laymen, people who have never come across this before.
Absolutely. Well, There's several articles here on the DJI Neo too, and there's a really incredible update that I want to spend some time going over, because I know, for those of you who are Apple aficionados, yeah, like Mr. Ron Brown, and I know Johnny has it as well, and I'm sure I know Marcus does as well too. Let's go ahead. I'm going to first share an article. There's several articles that I do want to go ahead and go over here. This first one here, and it's from Sean. It's on control your DJI Neo 2 with your Apple Watch new firmware update. Okay, just and he really gets into it, and he does again a fantastic job, straightforward, easy to understand. Apple Watch live visual preview, yes. Launch drone, no. Switch flight modes, yes. Adjust attributes, yes. Voice commands, yes. Smartphone required to launch a drone. Okay. How Apple Watch control works with DJI Neo 2. He explains all that very well and very clearly, and just a lot of good video of the process itself. In my testing, I said, "Hey, fly," and the watch display, "Go ahead," indicating it was ready for my command. I said, "Spotlight," and the drone immediately responded, counting down 3, 2, 1 before executing the mode. Okay. Compatible drones in Neo 2, the original DJI Neo, and the DJI Flip. Why this matters for active users. It's just limitations to keep in mind. While this is a great feature, there are some limitations worth noting. You still need your smartphone connected to the drone. The Apple Watch is not a standalone controller. It's an extension of the Fly app on your phone. You also cannot launch a drone from the Apple Watch. You will need to use your phone or physical button on the drone itself to get it airborne. Once flying, however, the watch gives you solid control options. And then we're going to go ahead. There's a couple other articles that I want to share as well too. Let's see here. Okay. And this one actually shows some graphics on this. These are the DJI drones you can control with your Apple Watch, and it shows what the screen on the Apple Watch looks like right here. DJI's latest Fly app, Neo 2, Flip, and DJI Neo here. And here's an example of somebody flying it with the watch. The Flip, the foldable creative daily carry drone. Neo, the original palm-sized selfie drone. Why Apple Watch support matters. Show real-time video feed directly from the drone. Display battery level in flight. Receive and process voice commands. Act as a status monitor while your phone stays in your pocket. Okay. And that's Ron.
I mean, Bill, you can even see a preview of the FPV feed on the watch too, so you can see what the drone's seen on the watch.
Now, have you tried it?
I have not. Of course, I don't have the Neo 2 yet, but I do have the Neo 1, which it works with. But I have not tried to get yet. My weather's going completely. Even though it's still technically fall, I mean, it snowed the other day. The winds have been high, so I haven't really been out, especially with like a little drone like the Neo. But Bill, I do think it's great that DJI not only brought that to their latest drone, but the older ones got it too, like the Neo 1, the Flip. That's kind of a nice thing to do right out of the box. We didn't have to beg them for it; they just did it right away. Made the older things compatible as well.
Yes, that is fantastic.
We give kudos for that.
Absolutely, that is fantastic. I'm so happy that they thought backwards and not just forwards here.
Now, Bill, what's your opinion? Do you think this is kind of gimmicky, or is this kind of really useful?
I'm 50-50 on that, Ron. I think, yeah, it is useful. I mean, but you still need your smartphone with this. Okay, there's no getting around that. This isn't a substitute for that. I think it's more kind of a gimmicky kind of a thing and getting people's attention versus not. At first when I saw that, I'm like, oh wow, okay, I can't do it with my Android watch, but then I'm looking here and it's not really a full functioning kind of a thing. It's more of a status check than anything else, I think.
If it ever did come to Android, it may have more capabilities because Android is not locked down as Apple is, and they may be able to program more features into the Android watch.
That's very possible. I think it's more of an attention getter, Ron, than anything else.
I thought about this when it came out. I thought, well, this is kind of a gimmick. But I thought, you know what? I got to think of it outside of us. We're drone reviewers, right, Bill? when we're making a video, we don't care if we got the controller in our hand or the phone. But you know what it may be good for, Bill? What if you're not a drone reviewer? What if you're, you do YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, but you're not a drone channel of any sort. You just want a drone to get some shots of you. Well, you don't want to be, if you're not a drone channel, you don't want to be walking around holding a controller in your hand or even a phone, right? But what you could do is you could get everything going with your phone, put that in your pocket, and then make your video, and you won't be looking like a drone geek holding a controller or a phone. So I can see that good for social media people who aren't drone channels.
Yes, that makes absolutely perfect sense.
They want to get a couple clips for their video, but again, they don't want to look like a drone dork holding his controller or even like tapping like that in their phone to get stuff going. They can just slide that phone in their pocket, tap their watch, and walk along and get an Orbit or a Droney or a Dolly Zoom or something like that. So I think it does have its place, for certain users, Bill.
I agree, Ron. Now we're going to take a look. There's a couple things on the DJI Mini 5 Pro. There's a firmware update, and there's another update on here. Now I did do that firmware update. I haven't had a chance to fly the Mini 5 Pro since I did the firmware update, but it's a fairly significant one. And what it is the firmware is v01.000.0400, and it updated the controller firmware as well too. So it takes a few minutes to go ahead and run that. Okay. DJI has also added propeller guard support. It sounds small, but for newer flyers, indoor flyers, anyone who ever nicked a branch, this is comfort food. You can now fly in tighter places with much less anxiety. That's a good thing. But the big thing, one of the sneakiest and frankly annoying bugs people complained about was the spotlight mode didn't work in cine mode. DJI finally fixed it in this update. And if you're wondering why this matters, here's a simple version. Spotlight is basically your drone saying, I'll keep the camera glued to your subject. You handle the flying. It's perfect for shooting cinematic reveals, tracking a person, car, bike, or boat while you fly manually, keeping your framing rock solid even when you're still learning, and for super smooth, slow, and controller moves, which Cine mode is all about. Now, that Spotlight works properly in Cine. This is honestly one of those fixes that makes your matter finally under your breath. It's best in the best possible way.
And that little bug has been around for a while, Bill, so it's good to see them stamp that one out.
It really is. Now, another key highlight is optical avoidance. I think, all right, hang on here. I think I passed up what I wanted, the other one that I wanted to say. Okay. The highlighted feature of the new firmware update is DJI has optimized the low battery return to home. DJI engineers have tweaked the algorithm so the Mini 5 Pro calculates its path home more reliably than when the battery runs low. The update is a thoughtful safety upgrade that gives pilots real peace of mind. Okay, and that's pretty good, Ron, because when it's really out of your control when you reach a certain battery percentage. I mean, it's set by you to that percentage, but it really ends up being out of your control when it comes home like that. And something could happen, and I'm really glad that they made this update, because I think it's going to make a big difference for when, in instance, you decide to push the outer edge of the envelope, you get it down to that percentage, and that return to home kicks in.
Bill, did you see any issues with low battery return to home on the? Is this for the Mini 5? Did you have any issues with the previous software?
No, because I never got the battery that low on the Mini 5 Pro.
I've never saw. I don't know what they don't say. They say extremely low. They don't say exactly what that means, but I've never seen an issue with the return to home on a low battery. Again, I don't know how low they're talking about here, but I just wonder. I just wonder what it's going to be, because I didn't see an issue the way it was now. Because the old day, real quick, folks, the old day return to home, the drone just returned to whatever height you had it set to, 400 feet, 300 feet, and then, came back 400 feet high and then landed whatever. But more recently, now the drone doesn't do that if it doesn't have to. It just chooses the way to come back at the height it thinks it needs to come back to avoid. But I wonder what this does beyond that, where the drone just goes to whatever height and thinks it needs to and returns to home in the same path. I don't understand how that can, how that's going to be different. But I'm interested to see somebody test on the video, Bill.
Yeah, and I think in order to test that, you're going to have to run the battery down to that percentage and to
Would you
take a
say
look and
under
see.
20%, or what's your guess?
Yeah, my guess is probably about 20%, because that still kind of gives you enough time to get the drone safely back. And I think what it's probably talking about is the path home, where in case it has to do some obstacle avoidance, that kicks in. There may have been instances where it might not have kicked in with that smart return to home, and this may be an instance where they fixed that so it does kick in.
I mean, as I understand now, when it does return to home, so it's kind of returned to the path you set it out, so it knows that path is clean, right, Bill?
Right,
So I wonder
right.
how that could be improved upon. I understand maybe the path you took it out wasn't the most efficient path, so maybe it picks a path more efficient that uses less battery. Do you think that could be it?
That's possible. I really think so. I think they may try to. You're right. I think that's a good point in terms of using less battery and still being able to get it home and making it more efficient. Yeah, I think that's an important point, Ron. I think you did good.
Maybe this is something you and I should try to test out in the near future. Start the drone off at about 20%, and when it wants to come home, see what happens.
Exactly. Now, also on a second
And
hand,
then and before and after that, then do a test where you let it return to home at say 90%, and see if that's any different.
exactly. That would be an excellent test, Ron. Hey, Kesselou put out a great article on Drone DJ. And, it's a reminder: the Mini 5 Pro on Amazon, only 7 days left to buy before December 23rd deadline. Now, it's just a reminder, that it is out there on Amazon, and it is at what I think is the good price, and I think it's probably the retail price. You can see that right here.
Yeah.
$759 for the drone only, $959 for the RCN3, $1,099 for the RC2, and $1,159 for the plus version.
Battery combos. Yeah, Bill, I think both you and I could we could both recommend that drone for that $759 price, or even that $1,099 Flywire bundle, right?
That's an exceptional deal, and that it's on Amazon. I think that's a big key right here. But
you saw where it said there for that Flywire combo for $1,099, it said 31% off, and I think it said $500 savings. Maybe it said $50 savings, but
31% off, $500 savings on that.
So yeah, I mean, I would, if you don't have a drone, or you haven't bought a drone in a long time or whatever, you want to beat the 23rd deadline, this may be a good opportunity, Bill. And you won't have to order from eBay or overseas. You can get it right off of Amazon, where you get probably 2 days shipping. And then if you have any trouble with it when you first get it, you can send it right back to Amazon. I think this is kind of what do you call it? A no-brainer if you need.
It's a no-brainer, exactly, Ron. It's absolutely totally a no-brainer. It's something we encourage you, if you want to still stay in the game, if you're looking for something fresh and new, it's an outstanding drone. It's absolutely great. It's better by far than the Mini 4 Pro. I can't say enough about that.
But of course, but if you're sitting on top of a Mavic 4 Pro and maybe an Air 3S, and you don't necessarily need a mini drone, then it's probably, it probably is a luxury item.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that I wanted to go over now was, and I had a lot of questions this past week, the DJI Pocket 4 and DJI Lavalier 360 release updates. And I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes on this because, I know Ron covered this last night in Drone Nation, even though I didn't see it, but I wanted to cover it here tonight as well. We did find out last week from Lauren in the chat. He did tell us that the Avata 360 is going to be delayed till January. Well, it seems it's going to be the same thing with the Pocket 4. The Pocket 4 is going to be delayed until January as well. But one of the things that I wanted to remind everybody is this, okay? Both of these have been approved by the FCC, okay? I mean, and when they actually go on sale, okay, say from our friends in South Korea or Japan or China or wherever, okay, we'll still be able to purchase them in January, okay? It's not going to be illegal to do that because these have been approved by the FCC, all right? Pure and simple. There's going to be no problems with that. And, and I think that's a big point that a lot of people are missing, Ron. And I think, I know a lot of drone reviewers have really tried to nail it on the head with this. And I want to emphasize it as well, too. And I know you have, okay, that when December 23rd hits, okay, we can still fly our drones, all right? And also, with these items that have been already approved by the FCC, we can still purchase them. The real problem is going forward, there'll be no more approvals by the FCC if what in a week
Right,
what's going to
right.
come to
If you say
fruition
the
does.
personal, what's gonna unless there's a last minute, what do you call it? Last minute change of heart here or that, yeah.
Yeah,
What you're trying to say is you'll be able to get the Pocket 4 because of the FCC approval. What you won't be able to do is get the Pocket 5 that comes out next winter.
exactly. Okay. Or you won't be able to get the Avata 362 or the Mavic 5 Pro or
The Mini 6,
the
yeah,
Mini
yeah.
6 Pro. Okay. It's going forward is where the issue is. And that's why, and I
Well,
know
what DJI did, what they used to call, they beat the deadline on these drones. They
yeah,
came in under the deadline.
they came in under the deadline. Now, at this point, I want to go ahead and talk about
Greg Pip is saying in the chat, no service. Yeah, I mean, Greg, we've been in a no service zone for almost all this year.
yeah. I mean, you can go to the DJI store in New York City. I do know that they service those. They'll service drones there. Josh and John have shared that as well. So that's a fully functioning feature.
But Bud Bieber asked a good question here. Why ban a pocket camera?
Yeah, that's yeah. Well,
I mean, what's that pocket camera going to record that your cell phone can't record?
Well, I think because it has wireless communication, Bluetooth, it needs to get approved by the FCC. That's where the catch is right here. Okay, if it uses any form of radio wave communication, it needs to get approved by the FCC. And obviously for firmware updates and things like that, it's going to use Wi-Fi, it's going to use Bluetooth. And that's where the problem is, okay?
I mean, that's a problem if they need approval. But I think Buzz answers the bigger question is, how dangerous can a pocket camera be to the security of the United States?
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Now, what I want to cover here is there was a good article here out on Drone DJ or Drone XL, and let's see if I can get this here. Okay, and this one really kind of hits at the epicenter of things, and I wanted to spend a few minutes on this right here. DJI drones save American lives. Here's proof the politicians are ignoring before December 23rd. Okay, and this article right here, the numbers that matter most. What they did was the following are real rescues, real people, and real drones will no longer be available to first responders after next week. Okay, category unit cost thermal drone 11.5 to 13.5 for DJI. For Blue UAS alternative is 16,000 to 25,000. 5-year DFR program cost 150 to 250,000. This one here is 890,000. Failure rate from Florida data: 0 failures in 5 years. Blue alternative: 5 failures in 18 months. Public safety drone share: 80% plus of 1,800 programs. Blue alternative limited availability. Actual software fees included $1,499 to $2,999 per drone. Okay. This week, Utah quicksand rescue on December 7th. Somebody became trapped in a slime quicksand, and temperatures hovered around 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Grand County Search and Rescue deployed a drone that provided instant commander with a bird's eye view of the situation within minutes. I'm scratching my head going, did I hear that right? Did they say quicksand? Through the drone camera, the rescuers watched a park ranger toss dirt to shovel, but the quicksand flowed back as quickly as he could dig. The area responsible allowed the teams position ladders and traction boards, precisely freeing Dirks after he'd spent hours in freezing conditions. He hiked out under his own power. Last week, Oklahoma elderly man found after 12 hours. Wagner County Emergency Management deployed volunteer pilot Eric Lane with a Matrice 30. Within 15 minutes of launch, the drone's thermal camera detected a heat signature in dense woods. Lane spotted the man curled up inside his coat with his dog Daisy zipped against his chest for warmth. Lane used the drone's built-in speaker to tell the man that help was on the way, providing reassurance while rescuers navigated through rough terrain. The man survived during nearly 12 hours in freezing conditions. Then down here, Weber County, Utah, 25 to 30 lives saved. Instrumental in saving 25 to 30 lives using DJI Enterprise drones. A snowboarder becomes stranded in North Fork Mountain Valley, lost in dark with his skin icing up. Within 10 minutes of launch, a thermal camera found him. Florida's $200 million disaster, and that's something I am familiar with, and I do know that. With DJI, in 5 years of DJI, we saw no losses, no issues, no failures. And in 1.5 years, approximately between two different manufacturers, we had a total of 5 losses. In 1 year and a half, we've had 5 failures of the manufacturers on the list. DJI, none. That's going to put us in danger, our officers in danger, and public in danger when these drones continue to fall out of the sky. Chad Roylance's completed rescue list: a North Carolina missing child, a Texas flood rescue, a Michigan snowstorm, California a steep terrain, Florida waterways, North Carolina Alzheimer's patient, Arizona desert, Colorado avalanche, and not the hockey team here. Cost comparison reality: a DJI Enterprise thermal drone cost $5,000 to $15,000. It's a one-time purchase. Compare that to the helicopter deployment at $1,500 to $5,000 per flight hour. Drone XL's take: I've been covering the story for over a year, and Chad's compilation crystallizes what we've been documenting all along. The DJI ban is not a security policy. It's a regulatory trap that will cost American lives. And I'm just going to kind of end that there. Ron, what's your take on all this?
Yeah, I mean, people have been saying for a while, we take the DJI, search and rescue drones out of the first responders' hands, people are going to die, Bill.
Exactly. And our good friend, the late Romeo Dersher, this was a passion of his. And I know he worked closely with Lauren, and they had a Facebook group out there that for a while kept track of people whose lives were saved, or not just in the United States or North America, but around the world. And what a noble thing that this is, and how it's been proven time and time and time again. I mean, it is a life-saving tool. It really has. It is a valuable tool for first responders. In a lot of instances, let's say 911 is called and somebody's barricaded in a house. They can get a drone up there and they can take a look and see where it's going to be safe for officers to try to approach the house without getting injured. Instances like that. Or there's an accident and they can get a drone up in the air and maybe find another person who may have been thrown away from the scene, or someone else wandering, or just dozens and dozens of different possibilities from this, Ron. And I know today, and I did hear some news, there was a last-ditch effort that failed today as well with this. So the clock's ticking. We're at the 11th hour, 59th minute, and it's coming up to next week, to next Tuesday. And while things don't look good, as far as getting a reprieve from this or an extension for this or anything, there have been those who have really made a valiant effort and have really attempted to really try to get this, to try to get people to pay attention, among most notably Vic Moss. He and his organization have done fantastic work for that. All right. And one of the things I know, I felt better about contacting my congressmen and senators and sending those letters out, those emails out to them, and getting some responses and actually calling their offices and leaving messages. Okay. It felt better for me, even though, it's like, throwing a spit in the wind, it's just going to go nowhere. But you know what, for me, it felt better for me to know that I did something. All right. And as I talked about this earlier on the broadcast, Ron, one of the things is I don't want people to have a Eeyore type of attitude. Woe is me, stick their head between their knees and we're all done here. No, that's not the case here. Okay. There are workarounds for everything, as we've been talking about for the past several weeks. There are still items to be able to purchase from South Korea and China that you can still get out there. That's not a problem at all. I decided to go ahead and stock up on some batteries and some extra things. And I know a lot of people said, you're crazy for everything that you've got. And I said, well, you know what? Not really, because, if it comes to fruition and I can't get a hold of some things, I'm going to be sitting on some batteries. I'm going to be sitting on some extra equipment as well too. And I think that's going to bode well for me and my ability to be able to fly drones, and that's your individual choice. That's something that's up to you. but and I can't dictate that. So we're still going to be here next Tuesday. We're going to probably spend the whole show talking about this because it's going to be noteworthy. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, so we're going to stay tuned, see what transpires.
We'll be on the air the day on the 23rd.
Yep, we'll be on the air that day.
D-Day, huh, Bill? Drone Day.
It's going to be drone day. Absolutely, it's going to be drone day. So, any thoughts on your end on all this, Ron?
Just back to just the first responders. You would hope that if the DJI drones had to be replaced, they would be replaced by a product that's better than what they're currently using. But that's almost against the way things go in the U.S., right? Where we replace something with something that's inferior and costs more money. That'd be like, Bill, say you got rid of your truck and you got a truck that costs more money and was inferior in almost every way. That wouldn't be a good decision, would it?
No, absolutely not. Okay, absolutely. And and that Ron, you make a whole lot of sense with that, and that's what we're seeing right here. And and I know we've debated this ad nauseum, and I know you guys in the chat have offered that as well in terms of actually what's going on and what we're going to be seeing here, and just we just kind of like we're going to have to go forward with this, okay? And Drone Nation isn't going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Johnny, Ray, Marcus, none of us are going anywhere, guys. Okay.
Well, Bill, the unfortunate thing is not for us guys. You stocking up with drones. A lot of it have many good, late model DJI. So what if we don't have a new drone to fly in 6 months? Our current drone fleet is excellent. It's as good as there is out there, right? But what's bad for Bill is the guy that's not into drones yet, and he discovers sometime next year, I should get in this drone hobby, and then he finds out he can't get a hold of any of these quality drones. That's the guy that's going to suffer in the short run, Bill. You guys, exactly. Like you and me, we may suffer in the long run. 5 years from now, if we don't have any new drones, we may not be sitting so pretty. But the next year, 2 years, 3 years, if we don't get any new drones, our equipment's still going to be state-of-the-art, Bill.
Exactly. And, we'll move forward. It will happen, okay? And, rest assured, we're going to be keeping tabs on things. We're going to be doing our shows. We're going to stay on top of things, all right? And, and when they do firmware updates to these drones, we'll be able to do them. As I've explained to you, you can do them through DJI Assistant 2 for consumer drones, okay? That's not going to be shut down.
Plus, DJI's never said they're not going to update to the app. So that if that happens, that anything can happen, but that hasn't been said by DJI. So people like to update to the app. As far as we know right now, that's going to continue forward too.
Exactly. So, I'm gonna we're gonna go ahead and get an early cut. Now we're done with the drone talk for now.
Wait a minute, we got an unboxing though.
Oh, we got let's do the unboxing. Go ahead, Ron.
Now this just came in today. Now Johnny, if anybody's watching Johnny's social media, he got it too. But of course, my came in late. I'd already brought all the packages, and my wife came home late, and then she had this little package. So it's just kind of a plain brown box, and it's got some light writing here, but I'm not going to read that writing because that's going to give it away here. So this, you can see this isn't much of a drone here. You can see how thin this is, and they set it in the brown paper wrapper. And I thought I cut it loose up top here, but it's a little sticky. Okay, here we go. It's got that drone look to it, doesn't it, Bill?
That's a drone box for sure.
We gotta pull it out of here for the big reveal.
Oh,
the V-Copter Mini is back, Bill. It's back. This is the drone that was recalled in early September for battery issues, and they promised they would get it out to people. They said October, November. It's a little late here, but better late than never, Bill. And it's arrived, and hopefully all the battery issues and charging issues and overheating issues that nobody actually saw, but that's the reason they said the recall. It is back now, and Bill, I hope to give it a full test here as soon as the weather gets nice here at the shore. So
the question is begging to be answered. Johnny, did you get yours out for a flight today?
That is a good question, and
that's the question.
Here's something funny. So last night we talked about the V copter because here's what was interesting, Bill. Did you know this? That it's being sold in Best Buy, but people were mad because people that had ordered or waiting for it weren't getting the drone, but yet people just walk into Best Buy and get one. So we were a little perturbed last night. So Johnny and I said, well, they must have heard us talking on Drone Nation, and they heard these things out today.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so maybe if you ask Santa, you might get a V-Copter Mini under your tree this year.
You could, and of course, that's the state of affairs we're in right now. You used to go in Best Buy and get DJI and Autel drones. Now they're stocked with V-Copter Minis, and somebody saw a whole bunch of Snaptane drones. Oh, John Coopy, he went to the drone cases and where they used to put DJI drones. Now they have Snaptanes.
Snaptane. Oh man! Wow. Okay. Wow. Next thing you know, we'll start seeing Holy Stone in there. It's just wow. But no, V-Copter Mini, that's really interesting that Best Buy is moving forward with that. That's very interesting, especially
and V-Copter's excuse was that they had already contracted to sell them with Best Buy. So those units that went to Best Buy, they were set aside for Best Buy even before all this fiasco with the battery thing happened. But
well, there we go. Okay, so if you're looking at a V-Copter Mini, look no closer than Best Buy, guys.
And Bill, this is the most interesting story we've ever seen the drone where we've never had anything like this where, the whole V-Copter thing, I mean, we've had Indiegogo, things like that before, but it shows up and it's barely around a few weeks. And then it's not only recalled. You didn't have to send your drone back. You were supposed to dispose of it and they were going to send you a new drone. We've never heard of that before in the drone industry, right? Like,
Never.
that. I mean, it's almost unheard of, especially with a budget kind of a drone. Usually budget drones, you get zero support from the company that made them, right? We're here. These guys are sending out whole new drones and you never had to do anything. You never even send the old one back. I mean, it's crazy story. But we'll talk more about this in the next show when I've had time to get it out of the box and fly.
Yeah, and that'll be we'll be kind of looking forward to that. That's for sure.
But of course, now I know you went to the Panthers game last night in Tampa Bay, and I heard that was a pretty good game. But what you missed is the Steeler Nation. They played one of their best games of the year last night against the Miami Dolphins.
Okay, I wanted to go ahead and show you guys a picture of my seats from last night. I had it up. Where is it? There we go. Let me blow that up here. Okay. Now we had probably, these are fantastic seats. And the thing with these seats is, okay, we were at the end where the Panthers shot twice. All right. And let me go ahead and
now how did you purchase these tickets, Bill?
It was somebody in our community. They were it was interesting. They couldn't go. So I ended up getting them. He knocked $50 a piece off of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this is the end. The Panthers shot down this end twice, which was great. And I actually recorded video on one of the goals. I actually got down this end. And then I got a goal down the other end. And see, that's the only thing with sitting on this end. It's great when the action's down your end, but when it's down the other end, it's kind of hard to see. So,
yeah.
So
how many goals were scored at your end, Bill?
4 goals were scored at my end.
Okay.
The final score was 5-2. So 4 were scored on down my end. Now's the time that we're getting to Steeler Nation. Okay. And first of all, like Ron said, I caught the last 10 minutes of it by the time I got home. It was on TV.
Well, of course, almost everything Miami did good was in that last 10 minutes.
Yeah. And it was, and I did watch some highlight videos, and Aaron Rodgers did look pretty good last night. I will say that. So
and ex-Eagle Gimbal had another nice game running, and he caught a whole bunch of balls out of the backfield because we know Warren did play, but I think Gimbal took more snaps than Warren did last night.
I think so. I think so. And I'll say this, and I saw some of the highlights. I went out to YouTube because I didn't watch it, and I'm going to say this, and this is one of the long time sports writers in the Pittsburgh area put this out there, okay? And this is his words, not mine, okay? Will the Steelers win the AFC North? More than likely, yes, okay, unless they have.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there, Bill. Guess what the announcer said last night? They said the Steelers only have to win one more game. They have 3 games. The only game they need to win the division is beat the Ravens in the last game of the season. They can lose the other 2 games.
Yeah. And so the way the Ravens are right now, who knows? I think they will beat the Ravens. It's just, I think they might win out. I don't know. But let me put it to you this way, okay? And this was from a longtime sports writer, okay, in the Pittsburgh area. And he quoted the old saying was, the Steelers are like putting lipstick on a pig, okay? Or the other term is that my dad always loved to use, you can't shine a turd, okay? And Ron, when push comes to shove, when they win the division and they have to play their first playoff game, okay, they're gone, okay? They are gone again, okay? And I know Dre said, how can you knock them winning, okay? My answer is this, okay? They are still they're a mess. They are a complete mess. Their wide receiver situation is a mess. Warren was ill before the game. That was a mess. Their quarterback situation is, God only knows what's going to happen after this season. Nobody knows, okay? Rodgers is probably going to go to the old folks home, and then they're going to be back to square one, and who knows what's going to happen there. TJ Watt, did you know what happened? You know how TJ Watt got that?
His lung collapsed, and he had to get surgery.
Do you know why his lung collapsed?
No.
He had acupuncture. The acupuncture is screwed up.
Oh no!
Somebody's going to be being unbelievable lawsuit because of that.
Well, with acupuncture, was he employed of the Steelers? Was he working for the Steelers?
I have no idea. I don't know if TJ Watt was just doing it on his own.
And you know how we got that information out there? His older brother, the great former defensive end, put it out there. Yeah, so we know it was true. It came from his own brother. Bill, after the game was over, they grabbed Rodgers, the TV crew, and they talked to him. And, he was really feeling it after the game. He talked about how the Steelers were, they were going to try to position themselves to, get a home game, not only win the division, but get a home game in that first round. I mean, Rodgers was really talking like, they were going places. I mean, Rodgers looked very confident. He looked calm, cool, and collected, and talking about, making, getting a home game in the playoffs and, making moves. I mean, it all sounded real good after the game. I mean, it was a lot of confidence after that game. But Bill, take it back to something you mentioned at the beginning of the season. There's a lot of confidence after the opening win of the season. A lot of people are really feeling good with the Steelers. But you point out, you said it was against the Jets.
Yeah.
And last night, the same thing. Last night, they acted like they were, I mean, it was a nice win, but it was the Dolphins. I mean, and the Dolphins, they were a hot streak. They had won 4 games in a row. But a lot of those 4 wins came against the Jets. A lot of them came against 2 or 3. I think three of the 4 wins came against teams with either 2 or 3 wins. The Jets weren't beating anybody to get that 4-game win streak. And we know the Jets. When's the last time the Jets haven't sniffed the Super Bowl since the 80s, right? I mean, the Jets are basically beating the Jets is nothing to write home about, right? I mean, the Jets even beating the Dolphins is nothing to crow about.
The Jets were in the AFC Championship in 2011. This is the Steelers beat to go to the Super Bowl to play the Packers and lose to Aaron Rodgers. Okay.
Yeah. I kind of meant to say the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins haven't.
No, I know the Dolphins. Yeah.
Super Bowl and since the 80s and whatever, they rarely make the playoffs.
25 years.
They usually compete for a very high draft pick.
It's been 25 years since the Dolphins have won a playoff game. Okay, 25 years.
So that's a long time. Compared to the Dolphins, the Steelers are they're like the New England Patriots.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I try to say this to all people, who are trying to understand the situation and everything. All right. Tomlin's still a lousy coach, folks. Okay. He hasn't gotten better overnight. All right. It's look at who they are playing. That's what I tell people. All right.
I mean, the defense looked much improved last night. They were up 28-3 at one point before the Dolphins scored their 12 unanswered or whatever at the end of the game. So the defense has vastly improved, but again, it improved against teams that aren't that good. I mean, I know what you're worried about, Bill. You're worried about making that playoffs and then getting a free ticket to Buffalo. And
see, it's going to happen, Ron. Well, obviously, Kansas City's out.
You saw what Allen did last weekend. The Patriots, who were one of the hottest teams in the league, went up there and got a big lead on Buffalo. And what Buffalo put 5-6 TDs in a row up or something?
Yep. I mean, Allen
against a team that was the number one seed, the highest team in the AFC, got toasted in that second half. Oh, here's John Flynn's mentioned. What about the Steelers and Lions on Sunday? The Lions haven't lost 2 in a row since 2022, and they lost last week.
I think they're up for loss there with that one. They're going up to Detroit. As John pointed out, they have not lost 2 in a row since 2022. I think that's going to be one of their losses that's coming up.
They lose this one, but they come back to Pittsburgh and they beat Cleveland, right? And then they go to Baltimore for the important end final season game, right? So the Steelers have how many wins? 8 now. So say they lose the Lions game, but they come back and win the Browns and Ravens games. That puts them 10-7, right? And
10-7.
And hopefully that gets them a first round bye. I don't know.
I don't think they're going to get a first round bye, Ron. I think they're going to have to play.
They would have to win. They'd have to win all 3 and get to 11 wins. How they get that bye,
right? And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they'll get to 11 wins.
Rodgers, that's what Rodgers is planning on.
It probably more than likely the Broncos are probably going to be the number 1 seed from the way things are looking, and probably number 2 is probably going to be New England. And I think the Steelers will bottom out at 3. And I think the Steelers will play wild card weekend. Somebody will go there on wild card weekend. Who their opponent, who knows? Okay. But I got to say this, Ron, again. Okay. This team is not built to win in the playoffs. Okay. They're barely built to win in the regular season. And the only times that they do win in the regular season are against your teams like the Jets and, other pushovers. Say the Titans. I mean, those are the kind of teams that they will beat all day long. And the Browns, okay, they'll beat those kind of teams all day long.
Says the low division champ plays the best wild card team. Well, if the Bills are the best wild card team, that's not going to be too good of a matchup, right?
Right, and it doesn't. And I can tell you this: it doesn't matter if they're playing the Bills. It doesn't matter if it's in Buffalo or in Pittsburgh. Okay, its game is over, lights out. Okay, that's not going to. I mean, the way the Bills
no amount of bad weather phases Josh Allen, right? Snow, rain, cold, it doesn't phase Josh Allen.
No. He, and look what they did to dismantle the Steelers just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it was sad, and they kept running the same play. I mean, it was just over and over again, and just pounding the ball down their throat. And everybody's saying, oh, Tomlin's, all of a sudden he's better. No, he's not. He's not better. It's like I said, putting in a longtime sports writer in the city of Pittsburgh says it's like putting lipstick on a pig. Okay. And that's exactly what this is, Ron. There's no more, no less. Okay. And you know what? If they get to the playoffs, it will be another one and done. Okay. And then they'll be having a non-losing season parade in downtown Pittsburgh come January 1st. All right. So everybody,
of course, if they do make the playoffs and they do win the first round, that'll probably buy Talman and Khan another couple seasons, right?
Yeah, and look what John puts down here. Well, let me tell you this. Okay, here's a little bit of trivia for everybody. Charlie Batch went to my high school.
And Charlie Batch wasn't all that bad. The Steelers have a lot worse quarterback. The Steelers have a lot more worse quarterbacks than Charlie Batch. I'll give you an example, Bill. So your ex-quarterback from 2 years ago, the guy they traded to the Eagles, what was his name?
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. Okay, he had to start for the Raiders this Sunday because what's his name? Smith is hurt. He started against the Eagles, who think he would know the whole team, right? He practiced against them for a whole year. Guess how many yards Kenny Pickett threw in Sunday's game? He played the whole game. The backup never came in. He played every snap. he threw for 68 yards, Bill, in a full game. And the Eagle pass defense hasn't been a record breaker lately, but they held back to 68 yards. So this is why Pittsburgh has had not much success for the last couple of years. He started 1 year for him, right? Okay, Russell Wilson last year started. Guess where he is? He not only is the Giants, he's not even the second string. When this their starting quarterback got hurt, Winston came in. Russell Wilson is third string on the New York Giants, one of the worst teams in the league, and he was Pittsburgh's starter for most of last year, right?
Yeah.
Justin Fields started a lot for you last year. Guess what he is? He's not even I'm not sure he's even second string for the Jets anymore. He doesn't even come in the game anymore. The Jets played an undrafted rookie free agent last Sunday. So in other words, the quarterbacks that Pittsburgh's been running the last couple of years, these guys, they're most of them are third string guys, Bill. I mean, so who was making these decisions to bring those guys in? And Trubisky before them. He's been Buffalo's backup. But in other words, the past 2 or 3 years, they've been playing quarterbacks that probably shouldn't even been starting, right? I mean, they would only start for Pittsburgh.
It's quarterback go round time, okay? And I know we've talked about this before, but I'll tell you what, I can rattle off a list of at least 10 quarterbacks between the time Bradshaw retired and the time Roethlisberger started. There's Tommy Maddox, let's see, Bubby Brister, Mark Malone, David Woodley, Todd, and I'm trying to remember the name. Todd Blackledge, Mike Tomczak. There was another one. He played for the Giants, and I forget his name. He was with them.
But those guys you just mentioned were probably better than the guys I just mentioned from the last couple.
Oh
years,
yeah,
right?
There was Tommy Maddox. Tommy Maddox was the quarterback that was in right before Roethlisberger. Maddox actually did a decent job. Okay. He actually had the team winning, all right? And he got hurt that very first game against Baltimore in that season. And then that rookie, number 7, comes in, and it was history.
Lights out. It wasn't Maddox the first-round pick for the Broncos at one point? Wasn't he one of Elway's replacements?
Yep, and his nickname was Tommy Gun, okay? Because he had a good arm. He really did. I mean, I'll never forget, there was a game, they went to overtime against the Atlanta Falcons in Pittsburgh, okay? And Plexico Burress, there's a name from the past, okay? Caught the winning touchdown in overtime. I remember. But that was like, that was like years ago.
What year was it the Slash Stewart played quarterback the whole year 1 year? Remember? That was Slash Stewart 1 year.
That was the year for Super Bowl 30 when they went and they lost to the Cowboys in Super Bowl 30. And Jerry Jones complained vehemently to the NFL because Cordell Stewart had a quarterback helmet and he was going on as a wide receiver. So the league made him change helmets if he was going in as a wide receiver, and that ruined the whole Slash thing, okay? Because he didn't know whether he was going to go do the Wildcat or come in as a quarterback or go out as a wideout, and they wouldn't let them do that anymore. So
I love Slash Stewart. He could catch it, run it, throw it. He was like he'd have been a Hall of Famer back in the 20s and 30s when one guy used to do all that stuff, right? Remember the old players used to do all that stuff,
and Dre's right. Whatever, Dre's right. He was a spark back then. I mean, I loved him. I mean, everybody loved him in Pittsburgh.
And isn't he coaching at some college now? I think he's done well for himself.
Last I knew, no, that Deion Sanders is coaching on Colorado.
I don't think Stu's the head coach, but I think he's coached someplace in college, like a position.
You may be right. You may be right as far as that's concerned. So,
yeah.
Any final thoughts going on?
Back to our quarterback thing. I mean, compared to what Pittsburgh's had recently, Rodgers is another. He is another Terry Bradshaw or number 7. Compared to what they had.
That's a problem that they have. Now, I heard several years ago when Roethlisberger was still playing, he told Rooney, he said, "Look, don't you draft a good quarterback." He said, "I don't want to have anybody looking over my shoulder. I don't want to be looking over my shoulder for anybody until after I retire."
And
And
you know
that's
what
why
Rudy should have said? You know what Rudy should have told him? I own this team, and I'll draft whoever I want to.
exactly, instead of coddling to him. And yeah, because I got an early 3 a.m. flight. Any
Yeah,
final thoughts,
you got
Ron?
to run, but you're gonna. How long are you gonna be up in Ohio, Bill?
We're going to be up tomorrow through. We're coming back on Sunday, so
Okay,
we'll
okay.
we'll be here next Tuesday night, bright and early for Rotor Talk and in all its glory, and we'll see what's going to transpire then. So,
And hopefully you'll be able to catch the Detroit game at some point on TV or something Sunday.
yeah, probably if it's on Sunday afternoon, yeah, because we're coming in Sunday morning. So,
Yeah.
so.
So,
Well,
all
that's
right,
all I
Bill.
got.
Well, you have a great and safe trip up to Ohio. I hope you have
Thank you,
good weather
sir.
when up there. I mean, I know it's going to be cold, but hopefully you don't get any of the wet stuff while you're up there.
Yeah, we got mid-30s is what it looks like. Maybe a little snow, maybe a little rain mix, kind of a thing, but nothing too drastic, which sounds good. Okay, and we're prepared for it and packed to the gills. I spent most of the day packing on that. So, guys, have a great rest of your week, and as always, it's a great day to fly. Take care.
Good night.